Hey y'all, it's Cam.
Hey y'all, it's Desinae.
Hey, it's Jada.
Hey, it's Jay, and you're listening to Four Deep, a podcast with four Black women in their 20-somethings who aren't afraid to get deep with it.
And y'all go ahead and connect with us. Y'all follow us on Instagram at 4D Pod. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, turn on your post notifications. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, you know what to do. Keep up with 4D.
And as always, please leave us a 4 Deep rating at the end of every single episode. On a scale from 1 to 4 Deep, let us know what we got into. We've been hitting y'all with some like threes and a half, fours this season. So yeah, continue to let us know what y'all think. Give us feedback. We have our Spotify poll, we have Instagram polls, we have our comments, our DMs, all that.
All that and then some. And today we're getting into a heavy topic. It is Black mental health. And let's see what we get into today, because this is a topic that we were all like having to say we need to prepare today for that conversation. So it's a heavy one. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Yeah.
But first, we're gonna start this one off a little bit differently than we usually do. So I want everybody to like close their eyes wherever you are. If you're not driving, if you are somewhere safe. I know some of y'all be playing us in the car. Pull over. But if you're somewhere you can, close your eyes and just be mindful of your body. You know, relax your jaw, relax your shoulders, sit up a little bit straighter. And just take a couple of deep breaths in and out in your nose and out your mouth. And do that as many times as you need to. In. And one more. Lower everybody's cortisol levels. Because no matter where you are in your day or your week, you probably needed that moment.
It did. Now my eyes.
So y'all see me, I was still in it. I was still in it.
She wasn't ready to come out. She wasn't ready.
We're gonna tell Dad
I gotta do that later. Oh my God. I have to do that later.
Yeah.
That felt so good.
Good.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like what better way to start off talking about this than to just take a second to like
Woosah.
relax, check in with yourself.
Yeah.
We're having so much going on in our brains 24/7, and then social media don't make it no better.
Girl, like I've really been seeing lately how they be talking about like how much we consume in a day. Like you could scroll and you could come across somebody's brother coming home from the military, and the next thing you know, some places being bombed, and the next thing you know, it's a baby doing something cute, controversial topic, rap beef. Like it's just so much that we consume in one day. And I'd be wondering why I can't remember what happened in my day yesterday.
Girl.
Like, why I can't sleep.
And I don't think that like I don't think we're supposed to do that. Like if you think about like getting the time, like first of all, everybody couldn't even get to everybody, couldn't even text everybody, talk to everybody. Like you are actually able to focus on yourself. We are as a society way overstimulated, and it's way too much pressure on us coming from so many different places. Like it's no surprise as to why mental health is failing here.
I feel like that kind of relates to one of the things we wanted to talk about too. And just talking about how like social media being everywhere and everything we consume all the time, like it opens us up to a lot in terms of like, I feel like it's just too early in the episode to like go there.
Might as well. We here. Y'all knew what it was.
We here. We brought it up. But we had wanted to bring up just the topic of like how trauma and resilience plays a role in like our mental health, and then like the role of social media in that. And like we use it as a platform for change as of like, I want to say like 2012-ish. But ever since then, it's just like not only are you like, it's like we're seeing it in real time. We're seeing all these videos of everything around the world from one post to the next. Like you said, it's mixed in between cute posts of somebody's baby and then a life update and then something funny. And it's like you don't really get a chance to like process it. It's just kind of like you end up desensitized because you're just like, oh, I can't even look at that right now. You just scroll past it, can't repost it, can't even tired of talking about it kind of thing.
Yes. My sister actually, she came across a post. It was like a crocodile or alligator or something eating a dog. And she was like, oh my gosh, why am I seeing this right now? I do not like to see this kind of stuff. And I'm like, she's like, I don't follow them or anything. Like, why do I see this? And I'm like, girl, I don't know. And I don't like that type of stuff either. So please don't send it to me. And then I seen another post of literally a man in the hospital who had cancer and he was hugging his daughter. And the wife had posted it and said, this is my husband. My husband, the doctors just told me that my husband, that there's nothing else that they can do for him. And these are his final moments and his last time telling us goodbye. And he's just laying there. His daughter's in his lap crying and he's just telling her it's going to be okay. Why am I seeing this on my timeline? Now I'm taking in y'all trauma because I want to cry for y'all now. Now I feel y'all hurt. I'm looking at this man who's literally about to lose his life, and I don't even know him. I didn't ask to see this. Like I didn't go looking for this, but now all like that heavy emotion is put on me. And something about social media, man, it just exposes people to way too many different emotions that we have to take on from other people.
And now at a younger and younger and younger age.
Girl.
I mean, it was a whole thing, like a whole thing when the internet first came out about cyberbullying and suicide rates going up.
Right.
Like it was a whole thing. And so for all of that, like even now we're seeing cases where parents are being very, very outraged about the fact that these social media sites are using the same different tactics as like other things that keep you hooked and addicted to really keep our attention. They get our attention and then keep our attention. And it's like I heard it from somewhere. It was like something about like, oh, the equivalent of like using cocaine or something like that. Like it was some like hard drugs. And I was like, yeah, we're freaking addicted to it. You know what I'm saying? And that addiction, and it's not even just like an addiction to an app, but it's an addiction mentally to stimulating our dopamine levels to an overly high rate, and then also stimulating our positive and negative like receptors basically in terms of affirmation and stuff like that. And so now we're sitting here like fiending for affirmation and fiending for like all these things. And then, you know, what's really not that bad in our lives becomes like this blown up moment because we're seeing everybody else's highlights and perfects. And so it's just like, we're just becoming, I feel like as a society, weaker and weaker and weaker in what we can withstand. And I feel like we're getting a lot more fragile. Let me not use the word weak, but we're getting a lot more fragile in the things that we can really like hold on our shoulders, even though it's like we're holding a lot because we're sensing, like we're taking in a lot more, but we're not able to hold it together when it's like little things like my shoe fell off in class and now I'm just about to end it all.
Yes, because it's so much that we've taken in from other things. We can't even carry our own stuff because
Exactly.
the plate is full at that point. We done took our so much, especially if you're like truly an empath who like it's just like it's just so it can be so draining and exhausting for real, taking in so much. And I think it's really just been like at an all-time high lately for real. Cause Jesus, just be whatever on the timeline.
How has social media impacted y'all's mental health, do you feel like?
I would say the pressure to stay connected sometimes it can be at an all-time high because it's kind of like, oh, like one phone call away, one text away, but at the same time, like life. Like, you know, like life be hard. And so the pressure to check in with friends and family every single time, like people equate that, like if you don't do it on their schedule that they seem worthy, it seems like you don't care. And I just think like, having that notion isn't really fair because people have a lot of things going on. And I'm pretty sure that I've practiced that, thought myself too, but really just trying to like unlearn that. Like stuff goes on. And just because, we don't talk all the time doesn't mean that we don't care. It's just like people's lives get busy. And if you realize, like, when you have a good day, you'd be like, oh, I completely forgot about my phone. Or if you have a really busy day, you'd be like, oh, dang, I haven't checked my phone all day. Like, yeah, like, and that can be the same. You could have one busy day, but somebody's other life may be full of busy days. You don't know what they're going through. And so just like taking that into consideration too, and just giving people grace. And I've also learned just like, so many people just post so much and they be so loud and wrong on social media too. Just it's a lot of opinions and it can be draining because then it also makes you think like, okay, like, do I really feel this way because I seen a post about it or because I really feel this way? And that's been a big thing too, like trying to look at something and think about it, but then also being like, child, I don't have an answer for that right now because I just wasn't thinking about that and I don't know.
Yeah.
Simple. So yeah, I feel like as far as like the comparison game goes, and like when it comes to like, oh, I do this for my friends, I do this for my da 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 da. It can be taxing trying to separate what other people do and comparing, realizing like trying to figure out what I really like to do. So I would say in that sense, it's definitely took a big toll on like how what I do for myself and what works for me, and then how I'm thinking about like other people perceive that, which isn't important. But because of social media, it's like, oh, well, what does this person think about? It's like, girl, just do what works best for you. So that's kind of how I've realized like it's impacted me, um, just like as the years have gone by.
I'm gonna keep it G real with y'all. I feel like my mental health was probably a lot better before, I got super engaged into social media. But I've been into social media for such a long time, like since middle school,
Mm,
Instagram came out and it was a thing. It wasn't like how it is now, but like it was a thing. And
mhm.
I feel like, I don't know, like just as a kid in general, I don't know, I feel like your mental health is like better because it's a lot of other stuff that you don't have to worry about. Um, but I will say there was a time where, I did used to internalize everything that I saw. I used to accept other people's opinions as my own. Um, and now something that I do, like if I see something and like I'm kind of like questioning how I feel about the topic, like I'll go and I'll read the comments and I'll compare and I'll try to see other perspectives and different perspectives. But still, that's kind of like that's kind of like the way like I try to be conscious. Because if you don't try to find a way to be conscious when you're taking in other people's opinions, you will just take them as your own.
Yeah.
Um, that's something that I had struggled with, and I would start judging myself because of how somebody else feels about a certain situation. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, the comparison too. I feel like the whole like whether I see like Instagram. Well, I guess it actually started with like seeing the Instagram models. And I feel like I started comparing myself to those kind of girls like when we were younger, like India or, people like Ruby Rose, you know what I'm saying? People
Mhm.
like that, like, compare myself to people like that. And then it'll be like, okay, now the female rappers is out, and then you got all these entrepreneurs and you got these 20-year-olds making $10 million a year, and you got this,
Girl.
and you got that. And I
Facts.
would compare myself to these people and kind of feel like, well, what am I doing with my life? And which is like hearing myself say it is kind of
Yeah.
like, what the fuck you mean what you doing with your life? Like, living your life. Like you're
Right.
living your
You're
life.
doing
What do you
great.
mean? So, but there was a point in time where I was not conscious of that. And
Mhm.
it has affected me. And while I am like, coming back from it, like I'm becoming more aware of that, it's
Yeah.
still like stuff that I now have to work on because it already has been inside me. So like now I have to work on that. So I do feel like social media, it has had its negative impacts, but it has also to have positive impacts. So, but ultimately, mental health wise,
Could be better.
it got me doing some work on myself
Yeah.
now that I'm aware. So yeah.
I would say, I mainly asked this question because like I just been feeling really just out of whack lately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I know that it's from social media. So I recently took about a week off from Instagram, and it was good. I mean, it was more than good. I mean, I was happy. That's why my phone screen time was down to like 7 hours instead of like 10.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like during that time, I was able to hear myself a lot better. I was able to be connected to God
Mm.
a lot better. Just because I shut out so many voices. I didn't realize how many voices, like literally everything is an opinion. Everything is like just like propaganda. Everything is like coming at you at like feel this with this and do this and you can get to this and da 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 and take these steps and and if you stop doing this, 4 ways to do this, like, oh my gosh, it's like, it's just too much. And the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I was really struggling with was comparing myself to other entrepreneurs.
Mm.
And that was the biggest reason why I needed to get off social media because I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm at this point, I'm ready to quit my business. I'm ready to throw it in the towel because to me, it's not popping like how other people's are popping. And like Des is saying, when I'm saying this out loud, it sounds mad, like really, like be for real. Because do you know what
Yeah.
happened in 2023? Like,
Yeah.
like, and so that's why I'm just like, it can kill joy so fast. And I could be happy and then I notice I'll scroll past some stuff and then like go down this comparison hole and then get off social media in the next 10 minutes and I'm sitting there in a whole another vibe, whole other mood.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
had to watch that and I'd be like, okay, like who's really dictating what
Mm.
you're feeling right now? I said,
Mm.
because you was just happy 2 seconds ago. And
Yeah.
so like I get on there and it kind of just like sucks the life out of me because it's so much of this fake life on there. And it blows my mind. It's also too much real life as well. And I'm like, there's just like it's just a lot of jumbles of a whole bunch of nothing and everything all at once. And so it's just like, what is happening here? And it kind of feels like being plugged in and unplugged to the matrix kind of situation. And it really, it's just, I'm like, we got to do better. We got to do something. And like what I would prefer is if social media shut down for at least one day out the week and was like,
Wow.
just shut it off and just say, everybody, this is the day to connect. And I think that would kind of give us I'm gonna throw this in there. It's not really like, that definition, but it would give us that third space opportunity
Mhm.
to like come in and be together in that moment, for that day and like kind of bring us back to reality. Like, I want to know how that would shape it, but yeah.
World Day of Play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it's really important when you're on social media to be doing like temperature checks, like realizing like, is this really the right moment or right day for me to be sitting on here scrolling? Because you
Yeah.
really just don't like, I feel like with all the algorithms of the apps changing, it's not even about who you follow anymore because you don't have to be following anybody to
Girl, for
see
real,
something
especially
that
today.
you don't want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because everything is meant to be like endless scrolling, endless streams of content. So you really do have to take your temperature and be like, okay, this is not it for me today. Because I definitely feel like the same as both you and Des, how you were talking about, like just that comparison aspect is always going to rob you of your self-esteem, is always going to be, like I say, the comparison. I mean, what is it? What is
Comparison is
it? What
the thief of joy.
Thank you. Somebody help me.
Or
Words.
the killer of dreams, whatever you want to go with.
All of it. And so I know for me, it's definitely been more of like a negative thing than a
Yeah.
positive overall. Because like I would just remember like how they say, like we grew up in social media. Like we were
Yeah.
there for the founding of pretty much all the platforms. We was the first people on all the platforms, which is crazy when I was thinking about it the other day. Like, there's not a single platform I haven't been on for real, including Tumblr. Like, so, and even then, I'm looking at somebody else's Tumblr page, like, this is not, it's like, my Tumblr page doesn't look like theirs.
Literally. Bro, that's so
And it's just
real.
pictures. It's literally, it's just the vibe. My
It
Tumblr
started
vibe
with
doesn't
MySpace.
match.
That was the killer.
Oh my gosh. No, for real. Like, there was always comparisons. You was always looking to see how somebody did something, how they was posing, how you was taking your pictures. Like, we literally have been conditioned to compare in real life and virtually. So it's like hard to establish like what is good mental health when this is what we've set for ourselves this entire time. So it's like I really had to, and really everybody has to come into like understanding what social media is meant to be for them and then letting it be that. Like, I stand by my timers, my app timers, literally an hour a day, and then it locks. And then I could hit like 15 minutes more if I want to, but I never do ignore for today, even when I don't have school, because it's like I don't need to be on that mindlessly scrolling. What am I looking at this for? Like,
Facts.
I was on talking to somebody the other day and they posted in their close friends, like, what do y'all do when you're following people and it's like you don't really want to follow them anymore? Because it's like it's not beef, it's just I don't want to see your stuff anymore. I was like, girl, unfollow. And she was like, well, like I just be feeling like, what if they have a problem with it? And I'm thinking to myself, like, no one has ever pressed me over an unfollow. But it made me think back to times where like we literally used to be pressed over unfollow. There were apps to track who was following
there
you and
still
who
are.
unfollowed you.
There
No,
still are.
I don't use them anymore. Thank God I've been delivered. But what I am saying is that I used to be on them apps like, unfollow back, unfollow back. Oh, you followed me just to unfollow me because you wanted to have more followers. We literally used to be so caught up in it in the craziest of ways, and I had to establish a boundary. So it's like, one, I unfollow people, and I would need to unfollow more because there's no way I'm following 1,000 people.
Girl.
I don't even. That's too many. Why am I connected to all these people? I don't want to. I haven't seen y'all in real life forever. We have to let it go. Just because we don't know each other since elementary school, I don't need to be connected with you no more. It's
That's
not
so
bad.
real.
But it's like, I just can't see this. I just can't see it anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've learned to establish boundaries with it. How much time I spend on the app, what I'm looking at on the app. I unfollowed the Shade Room. That was one thing where I unfollowed, and then I was like, I'm disconnected. I don't know what's going on. And then I followed again out of anxiety. And then I unfollowed again because I was like, nah. And I haven't gone back. Because it's just like they don't be talking about nothing. Right. It's not a positive
and they gonna
app.
pop up on your timeline
Every single time.
somehow.
I ain't missed nothing yet. I haven't missed anything yet.
Okay.
But it's like I really have had to manage. And then on top of that, I've had to follow pages that are actually helpful. Like we were talking off pod about therapy for Black girls, how they're both a social media page and a platform to help you find a therapist.
Yeah.
And it's like blog posts, and they have a podcast.
Yeah.
I follow My Easy Therapy, which is a page that I share with y'all, and it's talking about like it's marketed towards like high achieving women who are like overthinkers, prone to anxiety, like all of those things. I follow a page like that. I mean, I follow a lot of pages that kind of like help balance out all of the stuff that I don't like seeing with stuff that is like helpful. And so I feel like when you use social media right, it can be a tool for like connection, but I just could never be a content creator because there's always like, you have to be on that app, and I just can't be on there that much. I cannot do it.
It's draining. Like, it's actually draining.
Yeah, period.
And I didn't even want to be it. Okay. I really didn't. I fell down this rabbit hole. Why? How? Yeah. Because of my business. And I knew that I had to sit there and dance and juggle and spin plates at the same time just to make somebody look at me and be interested in a freaking budget. Like, it's mind-boggling. I really was not a social media girl. Still not. Don't have Twitter. Yeah. Never cared to. Don't care. I'm unplugged from a lot of the what's blacking. I really be sitting here like, what, y'all? That happened? Like, to a point where sometimes it's a little like, hey, like, get from under this rock, you know. But man, like, it's even when now my a lot of my content on my timeline is like Christian content, but like I'm seeing a whole bunch of that. Even that stuff is very like toxic too, because it's like a whole bunch of like, oh, modesty this, modesty that, and like trying to like put like this like harsh like definition on modesty, or they're trying to
Mm-hmm.
blend things of the world with Christianity, and it's like no, and so it's like it's just way too much, and I just feel like I've been very burnt out. I don't even have the words because I'm so overwhelmed with social media and like having to post on time, having the right caption, trying to make sure that the algorithm is like paying attention to me and working in my favor. Like I'm
Girl.
so over it. Like
Right.
I really don't be caring a lot of times. And that's why I haven't been consistent with my content. But I'm like, but damn it, that's how I'm going to be able to get this money that I need, because I need the money because y'all know who ain't paying me. So I'm like,
You know who.
you know who. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've just been very kind of stressed, and the stress just like
Yeah.
it comes out in the sense of like a lack of caring, but that's really just a cry for help, for like I need a mental break.
Yeah.
Mental break.
Yeah, I feel that. And shout out to the people who out there who love the content creators and live for that. Like it actually fuels them. Like
Yeah.
if that is you and you are listening, please contact us and help us because I would love, like, I'm realizing too, like, I like TikTok, but I like it because if I see a TikTok I relate to, I can create one spontaneously, post it, and dip. I am not the biggest fan of searching for trending TikToks. I see this, oh, how can I make it cater to my brand? Like, no, 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 I don't. And I don't like it, so I'm not going to do it. So sorry, that's just what it is. And so like little stuff like that, like I realized just kind of just like I'm not the biggest fan of, but some things I do like I enjoy keeping up with the latest, what's going on. Like what's tea. It brings me amusement. It makes me laugh. It's interesting. It's like, a mini blogger journalist in me, but I don't have to write it. I can just read others. So it does, but like to a certain point, so it's little things that I take in from it. But I also, just talking about this is like those times where like I could very much set my phone down and there are plenty of things I could do. I can sit outside and just sit and enjoy outside and be that. I could walk around. I could go to the gym. I can go to the grocery store. I could do whatever. Like there's so many. I could paint. I could figure out how to sew a dress. Like there's so many things I could do. And so it's like it's not an end all be all. And I actually am realizing that I like to do more things like with my hands, like whether it be like doing my hair, even doing my makeup. Like I would definitely put my phone down to beat my face, take it off, and do it all over again. Like I love doing stuff like that. And so being able to sit down and realize that I'd be like, I really don't need this phone. Like I don't. Like unless it's like, communicating with friends and family. I love that aspect and being able to like, see what's going on with friends I'm not close to. But other than that, all of that overconsumption stuff, if it's not making me laugh, I'm sorry, but like I just don't want to see it. Or I do appreciate like the current events that are going around, but again, it could be too much. Like Des said, I don't think we're supposed to be seeing all that we do see. Like it's too much information everywhere. I believe. Yeah, it's a lot. It really is a lot.
God says to guard your gates.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And the eyes of the what? Anybody know?
Older.
The windows of the soul.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, I don't know where we were
I've heard
going with
that
that.
one. Yeah. I've heard it
Eyes
though.
of the
Oh,
beholder.
listeners, did y'all catch that? Because I went beholder, and I said I don't think we're going there.
Yeah. I'm gonna just let her finish.
Yeah. Sorry to leave you hanging like that, but I just could not be
I
wrong.
know. I got you next time.
Okay,
I got
it's
you next time.
okay.
I've definitely heard that before. Yes, the eyes at a window to the soul.
Yes. And there's like
Mm.
it's just so deep how much entertainment, like literally, like
Yeah.
come on, and like containment, like it's containing us, like it's entering us,
Yeah.
containing us, and it's keeping us there, it's capturing us there, and it is, and it's taking hold of our emotions. Like it's way more spiritual, honestly, than we think. And so we're wondering why like our spirit is disturbed and why we have like anxiety, or we're a lot more likely to fall into depression. And it's because we are really disturbing our spirit that we're supposed to protect and really guard. And we're not. We're literally letting our guard down every time we open up that app, because again, it's not, we don't have any control over what we see, what's popping up. And so you can put all these things here and try to like make your timeline this, but at the end of the day, you're going to pop up across something, and so can your children. And so it really is this big thing about really understanding what's happening spiritually. And a lot of mental health issues are a mix between like spiritual and actual physical conditions, I believe. And I feel like a lot of times if we really get right spiritually, it can clear up a lot of those things. And so I would just say really, just like think about it from that standpoint. Like, my eyes really are like, you see something, that image does not leave your brain. It just, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's now kitchen, it's in there. It's in there, so it's like we really have to watch what we see, because we can see something and like we can get like little bite sizes of trauma, like you brought up earlier, like, you know what I'm saying, we're seeing like people dying in the streets and things like that. And it's like, okay, like if you weren't actually in the streets seeing that, you wouldn't have saw it, but because we're on social media now, we are. And so it's like these little bite sizes of traumatic events that we're kind of internalizing. And so then we are all just wondering why we sitting around like, F the world, this sucks, and da 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 da. And it's just because we're really taking on the world's problems.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a lot.
And I have a good example of that too, because like the video I was telling y'all earlier, and this man who he had cancer, and that's, they said they couldn't do nothing else for him. And I had seen the name of the cancer. It was a cancer I had never known of before. But then after I read it, I know I had to Google it, like, oh, what kind of cancer is that? Something else that I got to worry about not contracting, or something else that's on my radar, something else to have anxiety over. You know what I'm saying? Like something else, just something else to worry about. And well, like Jada was saying with entertainment, I said something. So I went to the movies recently, and I remember telling my sister or telling my friend, like, man, that movie was so good. It made me feel all the feels. And most entertainment, the best movies are the ones that really do make you feel emotion. Like the ones that have you feel happy, sad, mad, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, like the best movies are the ones that really keep you locked in, are the ones that make you feel emotion. And one of my friends, she watched like all of Grey's Anatomy. And I remember one time just telling her, like, she was like, yeah, like, you need to watch it. And I said, yeah, no, I don't think I want that's like, that show can get really,
No, I
really
had to take a
sad.
break. I had to take a break. There was a point where I had to pause watching that because it is trauma after trauma, like for real. You need to literally like had to take a break because I couldn't do it anymore. Like at a point you're crying every episode. And it's not like crying like, oh, that was so sweet, or I love family. Like, This Is Us, that's one type of cry. But Grey's Anatomy gonna have you, oh my gosh, like it's trauma, babe. Like it's trauma. It's trauma. And it's funny because I just watched it this weekend. They've definitely lightened up. Because that first half, them first 10 seasons, babe.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Yeah. And like Jada was saying with the addiction, I think our bodies are really addicted to feeling emotion because it's kind of like a signal that we're alive. Like something like you'll see something and it's like you really don't want to look at it, but you can't look away. But it's like, dang, well, why can't I look away? And since I feel like our bodies, they just constantly are like looking for a signal that we're alive, that we're alive, that we're alive from our brain. And whenever we feel emotion, it's getting that confirmation of like, oh, I'm alive. I'm feeling something. Oh, I'm feeling something. Because we're literally addicted to it, like addicted to social media, because we go down that line, we feel all the feels. We get locked into a movie, but only movies that actually make us feel something. So we feeling all the feels. Like, why do people like tear jerker movies? You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that is like, I don't know. Why do you want to feel sad? Why do you want to cry? Why do you want to watch that girl get kidnapped? Why do you want to watch, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just certain stuff that like, why do you watch that? And it's
I think
your body wanting that.
I was gonna say like a release. like that you're not giving yourself normally, and
Mm.
in other circumstances, it's like this is an excusable situation for me to show this emotion.
Yeah.
But like, but
Ooh.
when did bottling in your emotions ever get you anywhere? But deeper
Mm.
into, you know, like, you know, worse and worse mental health.
Yeah.
There's a study that showed that like there's a sensory, like an action sensory receptor thingy in our brain, so that like when we watch somebody else do something, like that thing is lighting up as if we're doing it. And like I
Oh.
can tell because I'll be watching like dance videos and my body, I'm on the inside, like I'm doing every move. Like, and like my body starts, like my arm will twitch, and I'm like, wait a minute, like I'm not dancing. Calm down.
Okay.
And like it's real. Like there was a study, so basically like the chimp was seeing somebody else take something and like eat it or something like that. And in its brain at the same time, it was as if it was taking it and eating it. And so whatever you're watching, your brain is kind of like taking it in as if you are doing
You're
that action.
doing
And
it.
that's why it is so easy for us to like cry or be so like on edge in a movie and like all
Yeah,
these
my
other things,
receptors
because
is
like it's really like we're really like taking it all in, and I don't think we understand about how much we really are taking it in until you come out that movie. You be like, man, like there's some movies I've been thinking about for days. I'm like,
Mhm.
like, dang, I'm still sad.
man, yeah, like man, I'm still just thinking about that.
Man, Ricky. For
Like,
real. I did not know that. And I feel like mine are actually like that whole thing you just brought up, you feel what you watch. I feel like mine are definitely turned up a few notches. Cause the way like emotions really just like, especially crying, like, bro, it's too easy. Fear, what horror? I'm there. I am there. I am in the room. Like I just cannot withstand it. Like it's definitely turned up a notch for me. I didn't even know that was a thing, but that makes a lot of sense because I'll be feeling it. And Des, when you mentioned at least like our bodies being addicted to like feelings, I looked it up and but I don't know if this site credible, but this is one of the first things I seen. And it says how like our brain becomes addicted to the adrenaline and cortisol spikes released in these type of situations. And then unconsciously we learn to need hits of strong emotions to feel alive, even if they are negative emotions. So it's like
Mhm.
our body is literally craving like these spikes in emotions, and whether it's a spike in sadness, a spike in happiness, whatever, our body is like, oh yes, I needed that. Like we're alive, we can feel something. I never thought about it that way, but like our body literally is trying to keep us alive, and anything that tells it we are, of course, is going to be addicted to that because that's literally what our bodies are made for, to keep us alive. So that's why I didn't know that at all. But when you put it like that, like it
we
makes
put it
sense. Yeah,
It
it
makes so
makes
much
complete
sense.
sense.
man, what
Yeah.
you over there chewing on?
Man,
Think about
I see it in
something.
your face. I see it.
All right, y'all. Y'all know
She
what
said, let
time
me
it
cook.
is.
Let me let
Chef
it
hat
marinate
on.
a little bit.
Okay, hear me out. Ready? Black people.
Mm,
The moment you said that, I'm thinking generational trauma. I'm thinking stuff that's
Mm.
passed down through the ancestors that we don't even get control of. Talking about feeling
mhm,
emotions to feel alive.
Ooh.
mm.
Gosh.
No.
Like, that was the first thing that came to mind. I said, wow. Wow.
Gosh.
Everything always applies in a different context to Black people. Because then I was also going to say, with like emotional relation, I do feel like that's just stronger for Black women too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that empath thing, I really do feel like it's stronger for Black
Oh my
women because
God.
of who we are in our family circles and like in the relationships that we have. Like we are always like the glue. We're meant to like sense when things are off, and then it's like our responsibility to address it, to fix it. But then just to hear that like biologically we're all wired to want to feel emotions, whether or not they're negative or positive, just because it's a reminder that we're alive. And then it's like to think about all of the unresolved emotions and trauma and things that get passed down through Black people that we don't even get, like we don't even have a choice over, but we
Right.
still have that. and we process that. And then to add in all the other stuff that we see like on social media, like anti-Black violence and just like this is emotional overload. That's what this is.
Yeah.
And no wonder I felt like during that summer of 2020 with like all the protests and just I remember feeling like so emotionally just like burnt out.
For
Yeah.
real.
Because
For real.
it's like you're seeing all that, but then now also like I'm processing it in my own workplace, like it's just crazy. It's exhausting.
That just made me think about, y'all know how like if somebody has a baby while they're like on drugs or something, then like when that baby is born, that baby is more likely to have that same addiction. Or 9 times out of 10, they probably have that addiction, and if they tried something one time, they would now be addicted to that. I feel like all addictions then in that sense are hereditary. And like Cam was saying, if like certain traumas are getting passed down, like let's say our ancestors are, their addiction is the pain, or at least their body is addicted to the pain.
Yeah.
And now we have a way more stronger addiction to negative outcomes and spikes in cortisol and negative, all of that stuff. And yeah, it's literally biological. Like we can't really control that. And when Cam was speaking, I was getting emotional right there. Like when Cam was saying it, and I was thinking about just like all the things that our ancestors did have to endure, especially the women watching whatever they had to watch happen to a lot of men. Um, even not even that far back, like even in like the 70s and the 80s, like the crack epidemic, like all of that stuff. Like that wasn't even that long ago at all. Like our mamas, our parents lived through that. So it's like it's all right here. It's all right here. And we're just unconsciously carrying it all.
And
And
then
people
also
always say
now
women are so
having to be the one
emotional.
to generationally break a lot of it.
Because
It's
now we're the ones who are aware of it.
yes, it's
That's
different.
a whole other burden.
But yeah, being aware, like that awareness, like even now, this is like a level of like kind of like uncovering, right? And as we just become aware of everything that has been passed down or has been, experienced, it's a weight. And then now we have to work through it, which I'm very glad that I'm kind of like on this end, because I would rather do this work than to just really like intake and not know a way out. But it is still a lot of pressure, because like as being that person in my family, I have my grandmother sitting here telling me like, oh, you're what I wish my daughters were, in front of them.
Mm.
And so then like that'll make me feel good. I'm sorry. Like it just like
Right.
I see what you're trying to say, but like it don't make me feel good. And then like I've always had like this pressure to do good. And we've had an episode on this. And so it gives that high achieving thing even more of a this, but on a whole nother scale when it comes down to just like, yeah, you're gonna be the one that gets like all the women kind of out of this pattern and out of this cycle of broken marriages and babies out of wedlock and all these things that have been passed down that's caused more stress and more heaviness on the women in my family. It's like we're rooting for you because we can see that you have the light to carry us out of it and to break the pattern that's been happening. And like you like y'all know a decision that I had to make, and I feel like that was also a big part. Now thinking about it subconsciously, I think that was also a big part of like the decision that I ended up making. And it was just like it was just a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, like this is just crazy. Like I have to take on all of this, and
Yep.
I'm putting all of this into this one thing.
Yep.
And it felt like a lot. It felt like a lot.
It's too much to carry.
Yeah.
My heart
Way
is
too
heavy
much.
right now. Mm, mm. Cut the show. I'm done.
Oh.
We told y'all it was gonna be a heavy topic.
Yeah.
You clicked on this video, so
Not it's your fault.
I'll probably put that pressure on you, but
But it is important to be able to have a space to talk
Mhm.
about stuff like this, because I was talking to one of my friends, and he's in the process of, hold on, I gotta shift in my chair. I'm very uncomfortable right now. Um, he was just in the process of like moving home, and that was one of the things that affected my mental health when I was finished with school, moving back home. And there wasn't really a
Mm.
space for me to talk about that. And that was also another thing, was that I was grieving the loss of my therapist, who I've been talking to for like at that point, like a year and a half. And I'm
Mm.
like, oh my God, I gotta do life without like venting about it, what is going on. But going back to his story, he just was kind of like talking about where he's at right now. And then he was talking about just some other things. And he was like, you know, you realize that like when you need people to lean on and talk to about these things, people are like, oh, I just thought you were all right, or I thought you was gonna be good, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And it's like, no, I'm actually not. And so it's like, it's so important to be able to have those people around you in those spaces where you can have these conversations, even if it's you just listening on one end and kind of like processing through it on your end. Like, you really need to be able to have these things, like as heavy as the conversations may be, they're necessary. They're
Yeah, that's
necessary a
life.
lot of
Life
the
is
time.
heavy. Yeah. Mm-mm.
But mm, particularly to the Black women, we just got to put things down,
Put it down.
because it ain't yours to carry. It
And
probably ain't.
leave it there.
It probably ain't.
And you know, I came into this episode thinking that I wouldn't really have much to say. And now I just feel like a part two, because we didn't even get to talk about how how Black people grow up. And you know, it's not really common for us to focus on our mental health, or we're told to be tough, or we're told to be strong, and all the pressures that we have as a community. Like we didn't even get into none of that. And my heart is already heavy, damn near too heavy to even get into that right now, because I'm gonna start crying.
Mm.
And yeah, here I was thinking, but then like once you actually get into it and then you start coming to these realizations, and it's like, well, damn, it really goes way deeper than way deeper than what you even could have thought of. So I'm like tapped out right now. I don't know what this is that I'm feeling,
Valid.
yeah.
but it's like, oh, it is like,
I think it was matched with like burnout too, because you have to think about like your current where you are in life too. Like,
Yeah.
to have a conversation like this, and then to be physically in a place where you may not be in the best state. And you may not even be cognizant that it is your mental health, but it's like if you got 101 things going on in your life, that's burnout. That's, or like one of the things that I recently saw on one of the pages that I follow, it's is it called functional freeze? I think that's what it's talking about. Where it's like you're just to the point where you've been doing so much, managing so much, where you just like, I just can't even do it. So it's like you come into this state of like freezing. And then that within itself is its own like thing that's, it's not good. It's not like helpful for you. It's like fight, flight, or freeze, like that one. And
mhm,
that takes a lot out of you too. And you don't even realize that you're in that state until you come out of it. And then you realize like how exhausted you've been too. So it's just like there's so many things that could be just going on that we're not even cognizant of. And it's just our body's trying to survive.
mhm,
Like, it's just our body's trying to do what it does.
mhm.
Thank you, Cam, because I didn't. That's literally what I've been trying to explain. It's been so much that I've just been standing still. And then you judge yourself for standing still because you're like, what did you?
I found the post. Y'all want me to read the 5 signs that you might be stuck?
Yes.
Am I
All
ready?
right. Yeah. Buckle up.
Just let me know if I start crying.
Seatbelt buckle.
So the first one is avoidance of social situations. So even if you're managing to keep up with demands of work or daily life, you may start to withdraw. And it can be from things such as like work, or it could be emotional engagement, like texting friends back. I've been there before. I'm just like, Just
Yeah.
can't even deal with this right now. Second is overwhelmed with minor decisions. When you're stuck in a functional freeze, even making a small decision can feel overwhelming. That's because your cognitive resources are overtaxed. So you have little energy for that. The third one is physical symptoms of stress without perceived stress. I feel like this one was the biggest one that I resonate with. All the time, people will be like, "Are you stressed?" And I'm like, "I don't really feel it." But like everything in my environment is screaming stress. Like, who wouldn't be? So this is a sign that your body is responding to it, even if your mind is trying to suppress or ignore it. And it can look like headaches, muscle tension, digestive issues. Um, the next one is diminished creativity and problem solving skills. So it may be harder for you to be creative or come up with solutions to problems. Things that once sparked joy or excitement now may feel dull or too taxing. And then the last one is automatic pilot mode. You may find yourself going through the motions of your daily life without being fully present or engaged. It's like you're performing tasks without much thought or emotional involvement. Um, yeah. This is again from My Easy Therapy. That's the one that's like for the sensitive, ambitious
Go
women.
ahead and follow.
I'm sorry, what is it called? I have to follow them right now.
I'm gonna send it to the
It's
group
crazy
chat.
because I follow them, but I do not come across their posts, which is why I need to unfollow a lot of people because
But that's here we
there's a
go,
lot of
because it's
things
the
I don't need to
algorithm.
see.
If
Where's
you
the
don't
post that
engage
you
with
just
it,
read?
I'll send it to y'all.
Okay.
But yes, this page has been, it'll come up throughout my days when I'm like,
Oh, I see.
because like I said, my interactions, I mean, my time on social media is very, very limited. So the things that I do interact with are like a very select few. So it's one of the things that now comes up on the top of my timeline, thankfully. But yeah, this page has been just like a huge resource and just validating to know like I'm not tripping or I'm not lazy or I'm not a procrastinator. I'm just tapped out. I'm just tapped out. But yeah, take that break from whatever it is.
The exercise again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
Like, we need to end on
Yeah, we can end it on the exercise.
I need a little longer than last time if we could.
Okay, y'all ready?
Yes.
All right, so we're closing our eyes. We're being safe while we do so. All right, so just be mindful of your body, relax your shoulders, maybe like roll them a couple times just to make sure that they're loose and not tense. Sit up a little bit straighter, relax your jaw if you're clenched. Just take some deep breaths in your nose and out your mouth. Take as much time as you need, friends. Every time Jada comes back, it's like she was asleep. But for real, we need that. We need those moments. I literally went outside today and just sat outside in the middle of school. I started taking walks in the middle of school just because it just be too much. So whatever you're doing in the middle of the day, if you can take a moment to get some fresh air, to get somewhere quiet and get those deep breaths in and those moments of stillness in, definitely try to keep your mind from wandering to what you should be doing. If people looking at you, if you feel funny, just
Yeah.
Like, just be there in the moment, shut down all the thoughts, just focus on your breathing.
I needed that so bad. I think I need to do that every day. I think I need to do that every day.
Mm-hmm.
Put a reminder on your phone. Like, breathe deep.
Mm-hmm.
They have apps for that, y'all. They do. So
I'm gonna do it right now.
thanks for joining us in this conversation. You know, go unpack it however you need to, journal about it, just take a moment, you know, complete the stress cycle if you felt stressed, go walk or something. Yeah, go do something. So
What would we give this? I don't want to say it was a 4, maybe 3.5.
I'm gonna give it a 4 just because it elicited so much emotion out of me, and I know right now that I'm going to have to go and unpack this
Yeah.
tonight. Immediately.
Yeah, I'll say a 3.5. It definitely got a lot much deeper than I didn't expect it to be a 3 even. But we definitely we talked about a lot. A lot of stuff I didn't know about either, and just like how deep things could get to. So yeah, I would say 3.5.
like Dad said earlier, I didn't think I was gonna have much. I told y'all this. I was like, I said, if I'm quiet, just don't even look my way.
No, the way we
But
collectively have not been ready for this episode, we was like, oh, it's
Yeah.
this one,
Know what's
huh?
coming.
Yeah.
We don't know what to talk about.
And our conversation went somewhere we didn't even plan. So, but that's the beauty of 4D because you know we're gonna take you places you didn't even know you got.
Okay.
But
Hope
I
y'all
love you, friends.
Yeah, that's a wrap. It's a wrappy wrap.
go take a
They'll
moment for
get me
yourselves.
Take a moment.
No, don't give it to me.
Oh, it's not working.
No.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
no.
Cam,
Cam.
can you do it? Oh,
Why? What am I doing
Sending y'all
wrong?
hearts for our YouTube watchers. Sending y'all hearts,
Oh.
hearts.
right.
It's from all of us. Send it this way. I don't think it works like that.
Oh yeah, and for the folks listening, Cam is throwing up her hand in a heart shape, and it's displaying hearts all over the screen.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
I be forget we have to describe it.
They're like, what's so funny?
Right, left out the joke. But all right, y'all.
All right,
Right.
We'll
friends.
see y'all next episode.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.